So you bought a new PC and you think about, well, what software I should definitely install on my new PC. Now, you're usually going to find like two main categories. Those who are essential to install, like antivirus software, for example, and those who can be very useful. And of course, if you're going with a useful software or an optional one, some of them actually can be quite essential in order for you to, well, configure your PC well. Like, for example, if you intend to overclock. So this is a more general recommendation for apps that fall under these two categories. Now, before you start even downloading anything, the most important thing is first making sure that your built-in Windows Microsoft Defender antivirus is active. And if you want to improve and get something that is better, I recommend personally Bitdefender. But basically downloading an antivirus software, if you have a license, by the way, for another one that you bought with your computer, of course, make sure to activate it. This is the first thing that I do before I start downloading anything else on the web. Next thing, make sure your Windows is up to date by just checking Windows Update and make sure to install the relevant updates for your system. And when you get your system, again, most probably it's an older version of it. Even the antivirus software, the built-in one, needs to get updated. Maybe the most logical thing is to update Windows first and then antivirus. Nonetheless, these two are very important to do when you get a new computer. The next thing is driver update. This is something that you are also most likely to get when you update your Windows. But there is dedicated software for each computer because there are different parts. Maybe you bought a brand computer, like for example Lenovo's computer, desktop computer, or if you bought a computer that is just customized with different parts from different manufacturers. Like for example, if you bought Lenovo, for example, desktop is going to be hardware. It allows you to easily update drivers, but again, you don't get it if you bought a new computer and just install Windows. I mean, by that I mean a custom computer. Now, of course, this includes many things like drivers for your motherboard, for your chipset, NVIDIA graphics card. If you have, for example, NVIDIA card, or if you have AMD's one, you need to download from their website. Make sure you have the latest graphics driver. Now, for example, because I have AMD chipset, I downloaded the AMD Adrenalin edition to update again the firmware if needed and software. And one of the things that you should do almost immediately after you get all the updates and drivers to make sure again that everything is recognized is checking your computer's thermals. And this is essential. So you can do that by using, for example, the original apps of the manufacturer of your chipset, for example, like Adrenalin by AMD, which allows you to see your CPU temperatures, for example. Or use other third-party software like, for example, HW Monitor, HW Info. This will give you even more information, not just about thermals. Then you can check the thermals both for your CPU and GPU and so on, and make sure everything is right. Now, to check if there are anomalies, just Google the type of CPU, for example, and GPU that you have, and see what more or less you can actually expect for your specific hardware. The ranges of temperature when it's idle and when you're actually gaming. But again, this is something you're going to do over time as you continue monitoring the performance of your computer. Now, the next thing, although it can be a bit complex for some, is basically testing, benchmarking, and stress testing your hardware components in order to see they're actually performing well. This can be software like AIDA64 Extreme, 3D Mark, OCCT, and Prime 95. And usually gamers want to make sure that computer is in a good condition and there aren't different anomalies that prevent it from actually performing well. Let alone if you try to overclock or undervolt and you want tools to help you actually test that everything actually performs well if you decide to make changes, for example, in the BIOS. But in general, if you test it out, it allows you to kind of pinpoint if something is wrong and maybe there's a malfunction in your GPU or CPU is not performing well, if there are thermal issues that you kind of pop up later on, if you just stress the system. This is a way to detect it early on. I mean, even before you try to play certain games, because you just don't want to stress certain of them. You want to stress the GPU, CPU, sometimes both. Next one is a file archiver or extractor, basically software like 7-Zip or WinRAR. Because some of the software you're going to download might be zipped and you want to extract it, so you need to make sure that you have it. I mean, Windows have something built in, but the other third-party options are really much easier to work with. Now, although Windows, for example, Windows 11 comes with a built-in Windows Edge browser, if you feel comfortable using other browsers, this is the time to download them, like Google Chrome, for example, where you can actually sync with your Google account. So you can decide which one you feel more comfortable working with. This is a good time to kind of download the browser so you can just finish things faster. Everything is synced, of course, if you decide to do it. So it's easier to get to your extensions that you maybe add on your previous computer, syncing password with Google Password Manager and so on. Also a good time to get a media player to easily play videos. For example, people recommend VLC or the Media Player Classic one, or the Pod Player, Cam Player. All of them are good choices. Now, even if you don't intend to code, Notepad as an alternative to Notepad is amazing. Now, Notepad got lots of upgrades, which are great, but I always find myself just going back to Notepad because it just has everything that I want. Some of the things that are so intuitive and other features that just don't exist in Notepad. This is just the best Notepad alternative that you can find right now. Now, PowerToys is another software I recommend checking by Microsoft. It actually has really unique features that are just, some of them just not available built into Windows, but they can really help in terms of productivity. Like, for example, the ability to just pin a window to the top so it won't actually get back while we're actually changing other windows. So you can, for example, overlay one window on top of the other. And if you switch back to another one, it will still stay on top. There are many other features, some of them might be more useful for your use case, so make sure to check it out. It's free. Now, for those of you who want to tinker more with the fan speed, for example, there are different software that allows you to do that. Of course, it's for more advanced users, and I do recommend, of course, reading guides before if you decide to use it. One of the most recommended ones is Fan Control. Some people just prefer just leaving it to the BIOS, but if you want to override it, there are software to do that. I personally use iCUE. In order to control both the fans and also the RGB lights. Speaking of which, RGB lights, well, if you have a computer with mixed manufacturers, people recommend Signal RGB or Open RGB, but there are ones from different manufacturers. Like, for example, I have all my fans are, except the all-in-one, are from Corsair iCUE, so I actually use Corsair iCUE software in order to control them. But I still can use, of course, Signal RGB and Open RGB as well. Usually going to find one that actually connected to a specific motherboard brand, like a software, like if you look, for example, like MSI Center, it's kind of a hub where you can find different options for software that are recommended to install, and you can find maybe something there. Like, for example, MSI has one that is called Mystic Light, right? And if you visit, for example, MSI Center, you'll be able to find it there as well. So I do recommend actually checking also the motherboard software, the one that actually is supported by the manufacturer of the motherboard, in order to be able to find also other complementary software that might work best for you or more, let's say, compatible with the hardware that you have. Now, this is something optional and it's probably going to be useful later on once you start using your computer for a longer period of time. Tree size. Tree size is always on my system. Basically, again, I want to make sure that I have room enough for content. If everything is kind of clogged and I need to make room, I need to use something that allows me to search for big files fast. And this is where this software actually excels at. You can also use to find duplicate files, but mainly I'm going to use it to find those big chunky files that just clog my hard drive or my SSD. So yeah, I recommend checking it out. It probably won't be like a must at the beginning, but later on, you're going to find it very useful. Speaking about clogging your SSD, well, Revo Installer. Of course, Windows comes with built-in option for removing software, but this is on another level. So according to the developer, and I'm just going to quote, advanced 3 mode, a leftover removal, complete powerful software uninstall, batch and quick uninstall, force uninstall, remove remnants of already uninstalled programs, backup options, uninstall history, real-time monitoring of system changes and log database. But for me, again, the most important thing is that it can just remove certain leftovers that a regular uninstall one actually remove, and it can uninstall programs with incomplete or missing uninstallers. Also, there are some situations with stubborn software just don't want to uninstall, so you can actually force uninstall, and this can again help remove software that refuse to uninstall normally. Of course, gaming PC, well, gaming related software, and of course there are tons of them. Just to name a few, for example, Discord, Steam if you're using NVIDIA and the NVIDIA app, OBS Studio for recording content, MSI Burner. If you want to check frames, for example, with the Reverse server, overclocking and so on, Razer Cortex and others. This is something that I'm pretty sure none of you are gonna forget. Next one is LibreOffice. This is a kind of free Office alternative that is compatible with Microsoft Office files, for example, doc files and PowerPoint files and so on. Next thing is software called Everything by Void Tools that allows you to locate file and folders, search for file and folders, and find them super fast. You can then just right click on the folder or the file name and choose to go to the path, and there are of course other options as well. Because it's optimized for this specific purpose, it indexes things super fast, and it's much faster compared to Windows in actually locating files and folders. For those of you who further want to optimize system performance, I recommend checking Process Lasso. And you can get a really nice boost in terms of frame rates in games. For example, if you have like a dual die chipset, for example, I have the AMD 9950 X3D. So you can actually choose the service of the game and actually assign, so it actually will run just on the first CCD that has the 3D V cache for optimal performance. And because in some cases it does it better compared to the power management of Windows, you can actually get some extra frames by using this tool. And actually it's quite significant. Some people even mentioning like 10%, something like that. It's worth checking out. If you're looking for a free email client to run locally on your Windows PC, I highly recommend checking out Thunderbird. I use it for quite some time. It's very easy to use, very intuitive, and just does the job. Highly recommend it. Want to record your voice to do some sound editing with the free software? Try Audacity. If you don't have Password Manager, maybe it's time to take a look at that. And there are several of them that are recommended, like Keeper, LastPass, RoboForm, NordPass, and 1Password. There's also a built-in one in Google Chrome if you want to use it. For increased privacy, one want to check one of the VPNs that I list here. Of course, there are many more. But basically, VPN encrypts your internet connection, keeping your online activity private from hackers, ISPs, and other prying eyes. It also lets you bypass geo restrictions to access content that surfaces from anywhere in the world. There are some free, some are paid. I personally recommend checking out the paid options, but there are lots of comparison sites that allows you to choose the one that fits best for your needs. Yeah, and of course there are many more, and this is where I'm asking you, which software do you recommend installing on a new PC? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and enjoy your new computer. Cheers.